We've already established that your open rate is not necessarily the best way to measure the effectiveness of your library's email marketing. It's your click rate. So you know that. Now let's dive a little deeper and talk about how to figure out when you're supposed to send an email and what an ideal click rate is. We're going to cover all of that in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Angela Hursh. I'm with superlibrarymarketing.com. Head there and look for the Library Marketing Show tab to suggest a topic for a future episode of the show, or if you see a library doing great work in marketing, or maybe it's your library that's doing great work, would you please nominate them for our Kudos section? We are going to give away Kudos a little later in the show. Before we do that, first, if you're watching this on YouTube, won't you subscribe to my channel? If you're watching on LinkedIn, click that follow button. Both of those actions will make sure you never miss an episode. And let me know what you think of this episode, whether you like it or dislike it. I can take criticism, and I think it's great to have a discussion about library marketing with others in the space. We can do that down in the comments. So let's talk more about email marketing. A couple of weeks ago, I released a video that talked about an open rate and why it might not be the best way to measure your marketing. I'll put a link to that up there if you missed it. One of the folks who watched that video sent me a message and asked for a part 2 to talk about when to send emails and what an ideal click rate would be. So I thought I would tackle that today. First, let's talk about when to send an email. So my big overarching statement is there's no right time to send the email for everybody in libraries. This is really dependent on your own community and the audience that you are targeting. And my favorite way to figure out when to send an email is to try to put myself in the shoes of the person who is receiving my email. It's very generalistic, I know, but it's the best way I can think of to do it. So basically, I just think to myself, okay, what do I know about this person? And when do I think that they are most likely to be looking at their inbox? A good example of this is if I'm trying to reach a parent or a caregiver of a small child. Likely they are going to be looking at their inbox probably pretty early in the morning when they get up, before the kids get up. They may be looking at it also after the kids go to bed at night. So I have usually sent emails during those two time periods. I don't send an email during the day, specifically not during the morning hours when the mom or dad or caregiver is trying to get the kid off to school, or after school, like those after school hours when they're taking them to activities and doing homework and getting them dinner and all that fun stuff. So that is the best way to think about it. Now, if you're like, I really don't know, or I have an email that I'm sending to multiple target audiences, then you can think about, in general, when do people check their inbox? It's usually in the morning, at lunch, and at night, like after they've done their dinner and like sat down and started watching television. So those are 3 time periods in which you can start sending emails. And I have a whole guide on how to like do an experiment to figure out the best time to send your email. I will put a link to that in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. Secondly, let's talk a little bit about click rates. This person asked for the ideal click rate. Click rates are going down. I've seen this across the board for libraries and nonprofits. So right now, the ideal click rate, you're shooting for something between 2 and 3%. Like that's average. Anything above 3%, you're doing a good job. This is just a reflection of how many emails are going out and how much content is out there in the world. Now, the fact that email click rates are going down is not an indication that you should stop sending emails. Rather, it means your emails need to be much more engaging. This is why I'm an advocate of not sending a big long newsletter with lots of different information for lots of different target audiences once a month to your entire population. Doing that part that's hard to do, where we separate out our audiences and figure out who we're talking to, is so crucial right now. You need to tell people the things they want to hear when they want to hear it, and that's where target audience segmentation comes into play. If you've never done that before, I have an article about that also from the blog. I will put it in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or in the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. So that's what I have to say about sending emails and click rate. What do you think? I know lots of my viewers are doing library emails. Let me know your thoughts about your ideal click rate, like what are you shooting for? And also, how did you figure out when to send your emails? Let's help this viewer out down in the comments. Okay, it's time for Kudos. And Kudos today is a video that I found on LinkedIn from a library. This is a video, the branch of the library is the Hazel McAllen Central Library. So kudos to them. They have a new art installation and they created a really awesome video that has built-in captions on it. They put it on YouTube, so I'll share a link to that. The Hazel McAllen Library is actually part of the Mississauga library system. So kudos to them also. I'm sure that the system as a whole played a part in creating this video. This is just a really cool way to show off this art installation. And of course, this library can then share it on email, share it on social media, talk about it. They can play it at their board meetings. They can play it at programs before they do their program. Videos are an awesome way to market your library. Great job, Hazel McAllen Central Library. That's it for this episode of the Library Marketing Show, but my channel is full of other advice and tips for library promotions. If you want to continue to learn, head to the next video and I'll see you there.